All right, well, let's kick on. So here is the thing when it comes to our attitude, that our attitude that we're going to put on, it's like our cape. Every single time we sort of want to be this all the time, because in our business, whenever we're doing our business, we are selling. Whether we're just talking, whether we're writing a piece of content, our attitude is always on. So this is sort of like an attitude that you're just going to be every day, right? This is how normal it's going to be. It's not like, okay, I'm going to have a sales call at 7 p.m. I better put on my sales attitude, because it's going to come across as flaky, right? So it's just going to be, and we want to have your attitude be as close to like an authentic as you are. So if what you take away from the session, the attitude for you doesn't feel like cool and hip like it does for me, whatever it is for you is whatever it is for you. But it's just to make sure that it includes some of the core foundations of what we're talking about tonight. Okay, so it is whatever it is for you. What we're going to run through this evening is we're going to do a bit of a sound check on our current attitude. Okay, so we're going to go through and have a look at what actually were our past experiences, and like what have we, when have we been in a sales interaction and it made us feel like that, right? When did we get our prospect system going feeling like, oh, stop talking, right? And what we're going to do is we really do want to to remember these, and we want to literally either forgive ourselves or forgive the shitty salesperson that we spoke to, and learn from our mistakes or learn from our experiences, because now we know what not to do. Okay, now we know what we're not going to do when it comes to we've got a good sort of benchmark of where to sort of stay away from. So hold on guys, can you see my screen? Yeah, okay, my screen just turned off. All right, so that's really useful, because when I went into network marketing, I had a whole lot of baggage when it came to sales. I worked in, where did I first start? I worked for Telstra, and that was just mental, right? And Commonwealth Bank was probably the place where I just had enough of selling, because I was made to sell credit card increases to 80-year-old people, right? And it was said they were the easiest. And I was just like, what the hell? That just does not sound right. So I actually refused to sell those. Instead, I would just have to work really hard in selling something else, because I didn't agree with that. But across my career working in Telstra, where it was just sell anyone everything, right? And I was very good at doing it. One of the funnest things I used to love doing was taking someone who was a business client of Telstra. So their whole business was with Telstra, and they would have an outage and they were crazy mad on the phone, crazy mad. You can imagine their whole business shuts down. And taking that conversation and selling something, that was one of my, it was something I would take great pride in. But it was just cool, not because I could sell them something, but mainly because I would spend an hour on the phone with them. The talk time was 7 minutes, and I'd be like, do you want to sell or what? Because it's taking an hour. Don't cross me on that. But it was more about, making sure that I took the time to hear them out. And while all their stuff is down, why not, let's have a chat. And, it just ended up that way. So it was fun doing that, taking someone really angry and turning them around to actually see that they had a need for something else. But there were parts that I loved in all of my jobs, and there were parts that would just really left me with a bad taste in my mouth. And so by the time I came to network marketing and having to sell, it was just forget it, because I was just doing more selling. And so when I came into coaching, it really, I started off with a bad rap, because I was just you know what, I don't even like sales anymore. Please don't. I'm just going to become a coach and be really good at it, and people are just going to come to me. Oh my gosh, that's not really how it went. So I was because this coaching human behavior stuff is going to be, it's going to be great. Everyone wants it. Oh, how innocent I was. So we're going to do a temperature check and a mic check of you know, where are, like, what have our past experiences been, and really just to clear out anything that's no longer serving us. Whatever was in the past, we'll write it off as a mistake or an experience, and then we will use that and move forward. So that's going to be one of the things we look at. Another one is we're going to actually shift our perceptions, right? If we have been holding on to a lot of baggage and it's not serving us, or when we hear the word sales, and I'm not even going to do the sales. But that's really cool. Like, that's an exercise to shift. But anyway. So, edit. So I'm gonna if we've got a whole, let's start that sentence again. If we've got baggage, right, that when we hear the word sales, we've got negative connotations to it, we're going to shift some of those out. And we're going to go through an exercise that I found bloody useful, just to be able to see what I thought about sales, and then sort of work through and go, you know what, those aren't serving. You know what, it's not always like that. So that's something we're going to be looking at. A really cool exercise was that I would do with, so I mentioned that I spent a lot of my career working for Village Cinemas, and we would get, it was in a call center, and I would be responsible for coaching and developing people on the phones to be able to sell. And some people had a really hard job of it. They really didn't like selling at all. And even though I would listen to all of their calls, and even though I would coach them and say, you actually need to, follow this process and do it, I realized that just having the system there wasn't going to be enough to tell them, like, people were getting performance managed. They didn't care as long as they didn't have to sell, right? So I needed to think of a way in which I could really help them shift their perceptions. And this is what I'm going to be sharing here tonight. And it's just really about shining a light on, is what we're doing here really that bad, right? And when you can see it in that light, then you're good to go, right? You can see, oh yeah, no, it's actually not a bad thing. It's not a yucky thing that I'm doing this. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. And it allows us to just free up some of this, these inner beliefs and perceptions that we have to move forward. So I'll unpack that a little bit more soon. And we're also going to have a look at, like, what is sales? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, know why we're selling. For me, sales equals service. Okay, because if I can close a sale, then I am able to provide a service that's going to change somebody's life, right? That's going to change and rock their world and help them do what they need to do in their lives even easier. Okay, so that's just, and I didn't always look at it like that, but that's just at the flick of a finger, that's what it is to me now. So we're going to look at our purpose. We're also going to have we're definitely going to look at this. We're going to spend a big chunk of our time here tonight talking about having exceptional balance, right? And we need to practice this. This is an art form. This is pretty much like walking on a rope with a blindfold, like 10,000 meters above the ground, right? On a tightrope. We're going to do this because I truly believe that to be able to be good at sales, we need to be able to be flexible in how and like our approach, because not every conversation is the same conversation. So we really need to practice how to balance and how to manage ourselves in each sales conversation. So we're going to look at that. And then we're also going to look at shifting what we do, right? So the balance is more about, the exceptional balance is more about who do we need to be to do this, to have this conversation. And the shifting the dial is about knowing what we need to do differently depending on the different conversations we're having. Okay, so this will make a lot more sense when we go through all of the worksheets. You guys got your worksheets, or can you just see them? Sweet.